believe this is the first time I think I've ever seen this league go early. Something I'm not used to seeing. But yeah, hello everyone. How are you doing? It looks like you'll be joining me in watching more F1 action. My voice has recovered well from Sunday. But yeah, sprint. Hello, Boomer. New season of sprint. New ambitions of this not sending me mentally insane. Let's see how long that lasts. That's the real question. I don't think it lasts very long at all. I think it would. It's definitely not going to last. You're going to die turn 3 probably. Yeah. I'd be surprised if some people even actually made it to turn 3. Can everyone hear me? Good question to ask. Actually made it to turn 3. No, I didn't have myself muted. I don't know what you mean. Don't know what you mean. Have absolutely no idea what you mean. I muted myself and I forgot to unmute myself. Yeah, that happens. But so Joe on pole, 4/10 of a second. Mildy and Alu split by less than 200ths of a second. So the rest of the grid actually relatively close, which is what we want. But Joe, I think Joe will have this one rather easily. He is clear by quite a distance. Although a couple of guys out the session as well. Staber starts at the back of the grid. You've got Matt that starts second to last, who never qualifies on purpose. But as for, apologise for the muting. We're here for the rest, not a guy driving alone. Yeah, that's fair. That is absolutely fair. That usually how this rolls. But yeah, there's going to be some positions where this turns into chaos. The real question is when. I think Joe will be fine. As long as he gets a good enough start, he should be away rather quickly. Here we go. It's no formation lap on the sprint race. So, 5 red lights. I got an awful camera angle. It's lights out. Away we go. And I don't think Joe got the best start available to him. He definitely didn't. Alu did, however. And Alu's going to hit the front immediately. Boomer alongside the 2 AlphaTauris, but loses out. Millsy gets past Joe as well. There's yellow flags in turn 1. And someone has gone round. It's Andy that's gone round. Boomer lost our position as well. You got Jaguar up in 5th. Jaguar now up in 4th, overtaking Boomer there in the Alfa Romeo. Jaguar and Alu both having great starts to tier 2 on Thursday night. I'm pretty sure Jaguar, well, he did before DNFing anyway. You got big turns passing mini turns, who's had a problem, and we've got little bits of car flying everywhere. I think that's Staber's car that has got no front wing left, and I think Big Turns also has a bit of a problem with his front wing too. We got yellow flags in sector 2, and I think someone's had a bit of a problem there. I'm not entirely sure. They've got it sorted out pretty quickly. Alu lost the position of Joe, and any chance he had of realistically putting a dent in there, Joe, in the first race may have just disappeared a little bit. See how long Alu can hold with him for as he goes with the slipstream down towards turn 1. Can he get it into turn 1? He's going to have the inside line. He's going to get it into turn 1, and I think Millsy's going to have a go too. But Millsy actually does on the inside get round at turn 3. But he's going to be an immediate victim of Joe coming down the inside towards turn 4, and turn 4 with the inside line should make it very easy for Joe in the AlphaTauri to make that work, and it does. Jaguar still in 4th, Boomer in 5th, but he's got a Swen right on his tail. DDK versus Moose also had an overtake coming out of turn 4, I'm pretty sure. Staber and Big Turns both in the pits. The McLaren's not doing too well to start with. We've got battles happening everywhere. Joe obviously back past Millsy in turn 4, but that did allow for Alu to pick up a bit of speed and a bit of a gap because of the fighting. How long can Alu hold that gap? It will be absolutely crucial if he can do it. If he cannot do it, then this is going to become very close very quickly. Swen getting past Boomer. That's not really the hardest overtake you'll see with the slipstream. DRS now enabled. I'm pretty sure that means the first DRS will be down this straight. Yeah, it will be, and everyone in the front here has got it, minus Swen and Alu, and Joe gets within about 7/10 of a second now, so, you know, whilst he's closing in, it's not a lot. It's certainly AlphaTauri versus Alfa Romeo for the lead of this race. Alpha 1-4, and then AlphaTauri 2-3. How long can Alu hold out? Is the question we are asking here. Because lap 3 of 18. How long can this realistically continue? Also, Luke still in 7th, Charizard up to 8th, Mini turns in 9th, DDK in 10th, the 2 Mercedes 11 and 12th. Tap in 13th, which is not bad for early in his F1 career in the league. And here comes Joe. We've been saying how long could Alu hold out? The answer is not even a lap from from the last time I said that. And Joe hits the front into turn 1 with the use of slipstream, with the use of DRS, and now Alu's going to have to fight this back going towards turn 4, but I don't think he's going to have enough. He certainly doesn't have the DRS. He's going to have slipstream though, but doesn't get it. Adam also having a really good go here at Alu, down towards turn 4 and out of turn 5, and doesn't get that move done. Jaguar right up on the end of these 3 cars as well. Swen's still dropping time. Further down the grid, you've got A little bit of a train forming from 8th backwards all the way down to 12th. A little bit of a train forming from Tap as well. And Alu will get DRS this time. There's no stopping in that. And Adam had an awful final sector here, and he might be under fire immediately from Jaguar. We'll have a proper look when DRS gets activated, which it has here. And I don't think Alu's going to have it into turn 1. Alu just a little bit too far back. I think Mini Turns has got a problem. Mini Turns actually hasn't got a problem, but he has lost multiple positions with the DRS, and he got he got Moose and Andy really up on the back of him now. He's going to get DRS as well on DDK, who is going after Charizard like there's no tomorrow. Gets the inside line, but only with one wheel. Still had the inside line that they go through turn 5. Charizard goes a little bit wide, and going a little bit wide opens the door here for DDK on the outside, and this could be an excellent move, and DDK doesn't need the use of DRS, doesn't need the use of Slipstream, gets it done regardless. Andy gets past Moose. I think Moose had a bit of a problem there. That's pretty well done there by DDK. He opened 0.6 of a second as well in about half a sector. Charizard having a bit of a problem himself. We're going to head back to the lead of the race because Joe doesn't have DRS and Alu does, but Alu has no battery, so he might be running out of time here on this particular straight, and he is not going to get Joe on this straight. And the fact that he has no ERS against Joe, who has 57%, is going to spell an impending doom here for Alu. I think he's going to get overtaken here by Mildy as well. Mildy going to have a clean shot at Alu. Alu breaks a little bit later. They're still side by side. A little bit of contact going through the corner, but not enough to make anything happen. But I do think that is Mildy getting past Alu, and it is. And it might be a situation where Jaguar's got a clean shot in the next lap. We've got a yellow flag, and I think that's Hallinan in turn 2. And that is Hallinan in turn 2 having a bit of a problem. Big Turns of Staber have made their pit stop already, and will be brought back into this pretty nicely later as we go along. Yellow flag in sector 2, and I think that's Mike. I think that's Mike. Yeah, that is Mike that spun it. That's unfortunate for Mike. That's pretty much put a dent in anything he was hoping to do. There's no reverse grid, so you're going to have to do actual qualifying at Mexico and hope for the best. We've got battles up and down the grid. We're actually going to have a look at Jaguar versus Alu here, as we see the Alfa Romeos for the day going at it. Alu's having problems. Alu just about within DRS. He's not really convincing at the moment. He did start very well, and that's a bit of a awkward move there by Alu. It's not done enough. Well, he has closed the door. I'm not sure whether or not Jaguar should have moved out the way. You've got well, the two AlphaTauris out in front. Mildy trying to fight off, trying to fight with Joe as Joe tries to fight Mildy off. We've got Moose King versus Charizard, as Charizard is beginning to hate this corner more and more, I think. Mini Turns also having a bit of a fight here with Andy and with Moose King, who's currently in 10th. The Mercedes just having a nice mid-pack battle. Oh, until very deep goes Andy. I'm not sure what he was thinking there. I think Andy's come off worse there. He has. He's lost a bit of his front wing. He might as well pit. In goes Alu. In goes Jaguar. Interesting strategy from Jaguar on the medium tyres to pit so early. Only assume he's going to a soft tyre. There goes Moose King on Charizard. Charizard not really doing an awful lot in this one either, as Moose King is going to break a little bit of a gap now because Charizard did not have an enjoyable turn 1. Mini Turns is going to have a really good shot at him down the straight. Also Boomer not quite getting a good enough shot on Swen. Third and fourth is pit. Jaguar has gone on to hards. I'm not sure that's wide in a 25% race. It's always medium soft or vice versa. Yellow flag, that's a Ferrari. And that's Noof. That's Noof that's got a problem. on the exit of turn 4. He's gone round, and that may allow for Jaguar to go on by, so he's not going to get held up by anyone anytime soon. Still got a mid-card battle. It's about 5 ways. Here comes Joe into pit. And Joe's going to softs. I would be extremely surprised if he didn't. Swen gets 5 seconds to speed in the pit lane. That's a rookie mistake. We go down and watch this mid group go past the finish line yet again onto lap 9. And they're still going in quite a uniform line at the moment, and I'm still surprised that even without a front wing here, Andy's managed to hold himself in with a chance of making a couple overtakes. Here comes mini turns on Charizard, who just about hangs on. They go through turn 4, and here comes this is the point where the front wing is going to have problems. Saeed had an attempt at Andy there and went way too far to the inside. That wasn't even forced by Andy. He just made the mistake, and I think another mistake has gone on back there. I think that is Noof again. It's going to be Steva that tries. Oh! And there goes Saeed on the back of Andy. That is going to the stewards. That's just... What on earth is Saeed thinking there? That's just a rear end. It's an interesting choice of going about that. I think there's some rush there on Saeed. It's just... I'm not entirely sure what the point of that was. In comes Adam. Luke, DDK also coming in, but he picks up 5 seconds. Looks like Charizard has managed to get himself slowed down. It looks like Mini Turn's also coming into the pit, so is Tap. We'll see where everyone is coming out of the pits. Mildy also coming out the pits now, going against Joe. Who's going to come out in the lead? It's going to be Joe that comes out in the lead. 5 seconds for Andy as well. Half the grid's just sped in the pit lane. And I think Joe has just taken a pretty convincing lead of this race. The undercut working massively there, as Adam's in a bit of trouble with trying to catch Joe now. Alu currently second once again. Saeed losing positions left, right and centre going through the second sector. We're still looking at Joe on Moose, and Joe on the inside of Moose King now. Moose goes a little bit deep, and in turn Joe's just going to breeze by him. Another 4 in the pits. Andy, Hallinan, Staber and Noof all go into the pits on lap 10. Joe very clearly in the lead now. About 3 seconds split. The undercut worked. The undercut and Joe's pace, it would spell game over, I reckon, at this point. 5 seconds for Moose in the pit lane as well. Saeed gets 5 seconds on top of his steward's penalty for hitting the back of Andy. So Saeed's going to lose a comfortable amount of position by the end of this one. 5 seconds for Matt for going into the pit lane as well. Well, for speeding into the pit lane. Which is not good news. Mike also into the pits. Yeah, you get a 5 second. Yeah, yeah. Montage it with the Oprah Winfrey meme. But yeah, the battles are starting to dissipate a little bit here. Mildy gets in front of Alu, and he has got to try and hunt down Joe, but he's got 3 seconds to find. And well, Joe's one of the fastest guys in the league. Adam is pretty quick himself, but I don't know if he's 3 seconds for the rest of the race quicker. That's the thing. He has managed to pull away from Alu. Alu in 3rd, Swen in 4th, but he's got a penalty. So Boomer, I believe it is in 4th for the moment in time. Yeah, it's 5 seconds for Swen. Pretty sure it's 5 for DDK and 5 for Moose as well. And Staber back into the pits. I can only assume that he's not retiring. He is getting lapped. Looks like a Moose King there on big turns. Pretty nicely done. Same with Charizard on the inside of that, actually. We're not going to get a good camera angle of this fight whatsoever. And it looks like Big Turns has managed to hold off Charizard to then gain a half-second gap somehow. That was pretty well done by Big Turns in the corner. Saeed going after Mini Turns, who manages to hold him off. As we have a little bit of a train forming in the midfield, and that's pretty much the only battle left on the track. Yeah, it is. It's got about a 5-way train forming here. Saeed's got 5 seconds at the back of it, and Moose has got 5 seconds at the front of it. And Saeed with an extra one to come. Yeah, pit strategy. That's all that happened. Also, I think Andy just had a bit of a spin there. Oh, yeah, Andy's had a spin into the grass, and that is the end of his race. He retires. It looks like Saeed versus mini turns here. Saeed's got the pace. He hasn't got the racecraft, but he has got the pace. And he manages to get past mini turns here, which means Charizard is next in line for Saeed. And they're going to go down the straight now. And Saeed's not going to be able to do anything here. Charizard also not able to do anything here. I think Saeed just went on the grass. And what was I saying about 5 seconds ago about the racecraft? He is incredibly rusty at the moment. Issues everywhere right now for Saeed. He loses position back to mini turns in the process of going extremely wide down at turn 4. You've got a 4-way battle or so happening now. Big turns dropping out of the DRS of... Oh, there's a spin, and there goes big turns, and that's another one out of that train. That's made a mistake on this lap. The 11... I don't think... It doesn't matter if it's Saeed's fault. He did move under braking as well. He moved the exact same way Charizard did. He completely copied his movement. As Charizard is actually going to go and be overtaken here by mini turns. That's a nice move to hang it around the outside. The more my point, Bloodwave, was the fact that Saeed managed to do that, the exact same thing Charizard did, and put his wheel on the grass. That was just an error. Whether it was forced or not, still an error. And here comes Charizard, who's managed to hold off Saeed and not able to get a good shot there in the return by on mini turns. It looked like, oh, look at that. That's a bit of nice driving from Saeed with the exit on that corner. He hasn't managed to make it into anything just as yet, but that is nice. That was a nice exit. I'll give him that. Luke is also trying to hunt down DDK a little bit. Might go back to that one in a minute. And mini turns just picks up 3 seconds of track limit penalties. So Charizard might find himself in a very nice position for a top 9 finish, maybe even more. Especially if he can get a move on. Here he goes down the outside of mini turns, even before turn 1 hits. Uses the slipstream and the DRS and gets it done, and that'll be another warning for mini turns on the inside of turn 2. And Saeed on the inside of turn 3 is getting a pretty good exit. Can he get enough to get alongside here? He doesn't. And Staber picks up 3 seconds more. Nobody ever has any RS because they use it immediately. Like, they just go, oh, it's the race start, I have to get as much of it done as possible. Here comes Saeed on the outside of mini turns here. If he could get this one to stick, this would be great. However, actually, he's going to get it to stick. He got the inside line, and for a split second, I thought he was going to go a little bit deep into Charizard. We've already seen that once. But that was a pretty good move there from Saeed, and we've got also a battle between Swen and Alu, which I think Alu struggling a little bit on those medium tyres. And Swen is able to go through into 3rd position, but he has got penalties. Also, Boomer 2 seconds further back. Will still be in range of Swen's penalty. Swen will probably drop to 5th without anything else happening. And as it stands, it doesn't look like much else is going to happen. I am still on extras. Hold on, that's a new one. Oh, and it looks like Alan's had a bit of a problem. on the exit there, the beginning, well, the end of the second sector is just a little bit unsettled. As I think that's Noof is actually getting lapped by Boomer in the process. And Boomer is closing in on Alu quite rapidly. But yeah, Boomer now within DRS of Alu in front of him. Can he manage to put himself on the podium by the end of this one? He's got 2 laps. He has 50% ERS as well. And the DRS, so he has a good shot at Alu here, who's got 30% less. And I don't think Alu's going to be able to hold this off. I think Boomer, if he can get a good enough sector 2 here, could genuinely be on a podium. Joe, however, is way in the distance. 5 seconds up the road on Milsey. Joe had the commanding lead. Realistically, outside of the first 3 laps, hasn't really been troubled. And Big Turn's out of the race. And he retires in the pits, I'm pretty sure that is. Boomer currently about half a second behind Alu. Did get a good enough sector 2. Should have a pretty good shot here at Alu. Just drain the RS, get alongside. He's going to get it done before turn 1 even hits. Alu had a good day in Belgium in Tier 2. He's having an alright day here in Sprint in the Alfa Romeo, but he isn't going to be on the podium without a mess up by Boomer here. Yellow flag in Sector 1 is just Big Turn's car. Staber goes up to into 18th. Avoid that McLaren, otherwise you're going to have a bit of a problem. And Alu probably a little bit compromised with the DRS as a result. And I think that's going to be the end of any chance for Alu on Boomer without a mistake. Here comes Saeed on Charizard. And Saeed's going to have the inside line. Charizard also has DRS. I don't think Saeed's going to be able to do anything here. Charizard not moving under braking and manages to hold off Saeed pretty well. It's nicely done. And here we go. The end of the first sprint race this season. And absolutely nothing has changed. It is extremely dominant by Joe to win in Brazil. Millsy's going to come over in second, and he'll be happy with that against Joe, I reckon. Swen in third, but he's going to drop off the podium down to 5th. Boomer up into 3rd, finishes on the podium, the bottom step. Alu in 4th, Swen in 5th, Jaguar over the line in 6th. DDK is going to cross the line in 7th, but drop down because of penalties. Luke's going to get 7th. DDK should get 8th as a result. Moose is about to come over the line now, but he'll drop a position of penalties as well. And Charizard up to 9th. Mini turns, ends in the top 10. Saeed gets 11th. However, I'm pretty sure that will be Stewart's inquiry later on. Moose gets 12th and probably, actually, might not even get the good enough penalty from Saeed to gain a position back. Mike's going to end 13th. Tap's going to end 14th, which isn't too disappointing for him. Matt 15th. Hallen and Noof and Staber were all lapped, I'm pretty sure. And that rounds out the first sprint race of the season. There you go. Round 1 is over in the books. Joe takes the lead of the championship. We'll get a pretty good idea of whether or not he's got the consistency to carry it on. But yeah, now we have to do the normal thing of waiting about 5 minutes for everyone to get sorted before we can go for a second time. But yeah, right, there you go, that's the end of race 1. Joe from Mildy from Boomer, top 3. Alu, Swen, Jaguar also putting up a fight The Alfa Romeos dropped off eventually from where they were at the beginning. Luke, DDK, Charizard, Mini Turns, they all had pretty good battles in this. Luke started 7th, finished 7th. He, well, would probably have hoped to go further than that, but cannot complain without losing anything. DDK from 19th to 8th probably has to be driver of the day. A pretty good drive from him. Should be an easy championship for him since there's no reverse grid. You are probably right there. I'm still a believer of the fact that reverse grid should probably have stayed. Yeah, they got rid of reverse grid because, well, actually, good question. I was in that call. I should know that. No, I still think it should. I still think it. It should put it back. But I guess we will get a proper look. But I think Joe's also missing next week, or it's a possibility that it's missing next week anyway. We'll wait and see as we go along. Pretty sure if Joe misses out, we might see the return of one Ross form in the next week's race, which could be quite funny, considering I don't think he's put a lot of time into this game. Been more focused on the GT side of things. For those that are wondering about the GT side of things, those comments for those races should be out within the next maybe 2 or 3 days for most of the tiers anyway. Taps apologizing for something. I don't think I obviously didn't see that. So yeah, Ross focused on GT. There's a lot has changed since you were last in the server extras. A lot has changed. It shouldn't be that long until the next race hits. But yeah, we're just waiting for everyone to sort themselves out now. It's for those who have watched Sprint for many seasons, you'll know how this is. This is the part of the stream where I try and waffle something for maybe like 5 or 10 minutes while we get ready for the second race, and it's never usually ends up very well. So if you have anything that you want to talk about during this period of time, please just bring it up. Especially while you have me. See that Tier 3 for GT also just went live. It hasn't changed a lot, that's the thing. As far as I say, it changed a lot. It's changed a lot since the last time you were in the server extras. It looked like we're about to go anyway. But those Binio day to day, it's not that different. Mainly for this season, it's most who is and isn't a steward, the kind of penalties that can be given out, those kind of things have changed. Some of the admins have also been altered over the last 2 months as well. But I feel like that might be a story for another day. But yeah, we're now loading into Mexico, one-shot qualifying and then a 25% race. Now, Mexico is a track I haven't even touched on this game. Hello, Joker. Yeah, Mexico is a track that I haven't touched on this game So I don't know the ins and outs of the circuit. Because that's usually the best way to learn these circuits. Just get on, do a few laps, and figure it out. But, yeah, we will see how it develops. I'm expecting a lot more DNS here than I am. You know, that message has been cut off on the chat. I don't know I don't know if I want to see what that says. It's been cut off on chat, so I don't know if I want to see whether or not the end of that sentence. Mexico, you don't even need to get to turn 1 for carnage. But it looks like we're about to go. Here we go, one-shot quali. We're off again. The real question is, Joe and Milty, are they going to be able to make it 2 from 2 as a 1-2 in the AlphaTauri? It isn't a good start, that's for sure. But then again, it's straight line speed, and that Ferrari, it's apparently Mercedes engine that's going to have a good straight line speed in this one. And Joe, through the first chicane, has just rocketed the entire way up the grid. Boomer was first for a long time there. He invalidated in the chicane. He caused himself to end his start right at the back. He may not have just bottled something impressive. The second chicane leads it into the beginning of Sector 2. And Staber, currently the one on top of qualifying right now. Staber just losing out and out, and they've got the real S's here at Mexico. And a lot of problems that can happen. I think Staber's span. Yep, Staber span. Staber has gone full Staber. And it's going to allow for Joe to be on pole again without a mistake anyway. Joe versus Mildy at the moment as they go around the final corner, and Joe yet again is on pole, this time by 5/10. If it's 4/10 in Brazil, it's 5/10 in Mexico. Goes from strength to strength, and I feel we're about to have a Max Verstappen-esque season from Joe. You've got Alu in third, the front three is pretty similar, but here's the kicker. Andy in fourth and Mike in fifth. Damn. Albeit that a couple of positions missing there. Boomer and Stable, but definitely would have gone faster. Stable probably would have hit pole. You got DDK in sixth, Saeed in seventh, Big Turn in eighth, Luke in ninth, Moose in 10th. Mini turns, the 2 turns is yeah, that's true. That's true. A lot of the different the wings are a lot different for each car, especially because each car has different strengths and weaknesses as well. This is real performance, remember. Boomer, what happened? You were set for pole until you messed up. What happened? But yeah, we're waiting for a few people to ready up now. Select strategies. I would be still extremely surprised if people moved off the soft medium strategy. It's a 25% race. I'm pretty sure you should not be touching those hard tires. Since the last time you got next to us, Mike had a win, albeit taken off him in the stewards. Here we go, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights, and it's lights out, and away we go. Who's getting the better start this time? And I don't think it's Joe again. It's not Joe again. Joe has had problems, and also that's a Mercedes in a wall down the straight, and we're going 3-4 wide here. Alu got straight down the inside, and he's been hit. Got all over the place as Joe somehow manages to find himself back into P1. until the end of the chicane, and we're still 3 wide between the front, the guys at the front. DDK, Alu, and Saeed this time they were going 3 wide down into the exit of the chicane. Mike up into 3rd as well. And those go side by side. And I think Joe has been touched. Actually, Joe hasn't been touched. Joe just goes wide, but it's actually Mildy that gets touched. And I think that's a collision there. I think that might have been DDK. I'm not entirely sure. There's a lot that happened there, but Joe currently in 2nd. I don't know what happened to Mike, but he has a 5-second time penalty. He also had lead of the race. Joe in 2nd, Alu in 3rd. Alu surviving the contact off of turn 1. It's been utter chaos at the start of this race to the point I can't keep up. You got Alu 3rd, Big Turns in 4th, DDK on the back of Staber. Well, Staber and everyone's going past Big Turns, as I think Big Turns may have had damage. He does have damage. That's a front wing out. We got battles going on left, right, and centre as we go yellow flags in Sector 1 and Sector 3. And about half the grid pitting. A quarter of the grid even pitting. And then Moose going past Swen, and well, then Swen overtakes him yet again. Staber versus DDK just up ahead, and Boomer versus Saeed further back. We go into the 2nd chicane, and these two are going to go into the 2nd chicane side by side. We saw how that worked on lap 1, and Saeed decided he just didn't like that inside line and decided to go over the sausage curb instead, as Joe finally gets past Mike. And Mike drops down to 2nd. Mike's going to go alongside Joe here. I think he may have just forced Joe off the track a little bit. Even though Joe was not expecting it. And Alu hits the front of the race now. And Mike has gone wide. He's gone deep, he's gone wide, he's got everything else. And it's just going to start tumbling down the order, I think, here for Mike. As DDK and Staber still fighting side by side as they go through the 2nd and last together. Now, Mike decides to not pit. I'm guessing he has damage and decided against pitting. That might have been interesting. It should have just gone to possibly the medium tyres for the rest of the race. DDK lost out to Staber in the end, and Staber's going to just blow by Mike. Well, he should do. He's not actually going to. He's going to go the long way round, and that's going to be nicely done for Mike if he can from Staber if he can hang on. And he is going to hang on. Mike's not going to get a good exit out the chicane. That is excellently done around the outside there by Staber. And Alu drops to 2nd. Joe hits the front of the race yet again. DDK now on the inside of Mike. Also got Swen on the inside right behind DDK as well. And Mike just a little bit of contact, I think, there. Just forces DDK off the track a little bit. But DDK isn't going to mind. He's still going to get by, and Swen isn't. Which means DDK should be able to break a little bit of a gap now, because Mike has got damage. He's holding up Swen. He's also holding up Moose, that's currently 7th. But, yeah, we've got battles all over the place. Alu going close, dangerously close here to Joe before losing a couple of attempts in this windy sector. And, yeah, it's a little bit unstable there from Alu on the exit. He will get DRS. It will drag him back inside of DRS too, the fact that he gets DRS, but it wasn't exactly convincing here from Alu. It's actually going to cut down the gap quite dramatically, about half a second, maybe even more there. The Alu gained on Joe just by the DRS on its own. Mildy gets past Moose as well. Swen trying to get past Mike, who's still trying to be hanging in there with DDK. Jaguar sets the fastest lap of the race so far. Mike's going to go the long way round here against DDK. DDK has a better exit, but Mike still on the inside line again, maybe a little bit forced wide to DDK. DDK tries a switch back. He's going to be alongside with Swen, and Swen had to back out, which means DDK is going to go too wide here with Mike, who goes too much to the inside. That might be a warning there for DDK, as he's going to go wide again, but he's going to get past Mike, and that's pretty well done there by DDK. It looked like Mike's trying to defend drastically here, and they're going to go 3 wide directly behind. Mildy, Swen and Mike, and two of them go wide, and Swen takes the position. Swen has a chance to go after DDK, who's seemingly also unsettled on the car. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3. I'm not entirely sure who it's for. Didn't see anyone drop positions either. Someone just having a bit of a problem. Here comes Swen on DDK. Swen on DDK is going to be a pretty good battle until Swen uses the DRS. Mike's also going to get by. These two are going to try and go side by side in the chicane. And then a little bit of contact. Mike left a wheel in there. And Swen finds the wheel rather than the corner. And it's going to allow for DDK to come straight back at them. DDK alongside Mike yet again. These two alongside in their second chicane once again for the third lap running. DDK on the inside, and that's touched again. Those two cannot avoid collisions on the inside of the second chicane, and DDK gets the inside line all wrong there against Mildy. And somehow still holds the position, not really getting that much of a warning. I'm not sure if he got damage. Either that, he just took those S's incredibly poorly as Mildy goes by. Oh, and that's Mike! That's Mike, and that might be the end of Mike's race. That looked like a pretty heavy shunt into the barrier with the rear wing. That might cause a lot of problems going down the future in this race. Moose, Boomer, Saeed, all trying to battle it out as well. DDK still hanging on to the back of Mildy. Here comes Boomer to the inside of Moose here, and Boomer has done a pretty good job there. It's not the most conventional place to overtake, especially knowing you've got DRS down the straight coming immediately after. Mike is out the session, as I thought he would be, from leading the race to out in 3 laps flat. It looks like Boomer managed to get by, and I think Saeed's going to be able to get by on Moose King here as well, because Moose just gets the inside line all wrong. Yeah, Mike the only DNF of the race so far. Moose not able to hang with Saeed out on the outside there, and he's gone a little bit deep, and that might be the end of that battle. But Mildy picks up 3 seconds worth of penalties, and he still had the DDK and a Boomer on his tail. DDK putting up a pretty good fight for his first sprint races. Cellmate's coding yellows in sector 1. Charizard also about to be lapped by Joe as they go through the final corner now. Boomer trying to hang in with DDK here. DDK just about doing enough. He doesn't have, well, yeah, he doesn't have DRS on Mildy, who goes into the pits. So Boomer should have this one relatively simple here as they go down the straight. And just as soon as DRS is about to be activated, and he gets it, and he gets DRS, and he gets the slipstream, and he makes that move relatively easily. Staber, however, in within a second of Joe for the lead of this race. What the hell? Where has Staber came from? Also, the two Williams might be about to go fighting, as DDK still doesn't have the DRS. And there's going to be Saeed on the outside here. Yellow flag in sector 1. It's caused, I think there might have been a Ferrari that caused the problem. Moose gets 3 seconds worth of track limit penalties as well. He's gone too wide just one time too many. It's about 0.2 of a second split DDK and Saeed here. It looks like Saeed's going to go to the inside. Saeed is going to go to the inside. DDK going to have the better exit though. DDK had a lot of overspeed compared to Saeed on that exit, and Saeed's going to try and switch back, and it just simply isn't going to work. DDK's done enough to hold off. Whether or not it's sensible to hold him off there and not just go for the DRS, we'll wait and see. I think Saeed's going to have him with the DRS very easily. Probably need just wait until DRS gets activated. And Joe's in the pit now as well. Yellow flag in sector 3. And that's an Alpine. I think that's an Alpine struggling. I think that's Luke. Yeah, Luke is having a bit of a problem there. Jaguar versus Tap. Down the straight. They both have DRS. I think Tap is going to have the inside line, but not enough in terms of straight line speed, even though he's in the Red Bull, which is interesting. You're going to have an inside line there. Fight. Big Turn backs out of it. And he doesn't back out of the second part of the chicane. There he goes around the outside. And he gets the move done. That's pretty nicely done. We're seeing everyone tuck in because of pit stops now. It's interesting to see who is and isn't around. Staber, 5 seconds up the road from Alu. So it is Staber versus Joe for the win of this race. Staber obviously not doing... Oh! Moose down the inside. I think Moose had Moose has had a bit of a problem there. Just completely misunderestimated where the actual braking point is. Gets it wrong. Forces DDK a little bit out of the ordinary. I think DDK is about to dive in. He is going to dive into the pits. Same with Saeed. DDK gets 5 seconds to speed in the pit lane. He has got to get that sorted. Moose drops to 10th. He also has a penalty as well. As we're currently on lap 9. A couple of people have pit. A couple of people haven't. I think Tap is the only one left in the back to... Well, Tap has just pitted actually. Which means I think everyone up to and including Mildy has pitted plus Joe. But then Joe is so far in front that everything he does is... He is just Max Verstappen at this point. Well, I'm interested to see where Staber fits into this, though. Moose almost trying something there on Mildy. But Mildy gets past. Also, Swen round the outside into the S's there. The fresh tyres are significantly helping now. And Staber gets 5 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. And Mildy gets 5 seconds for corner cutting and gaining a place. Ouch. Staber... Just one thing every single time that just cuts off any chance. I think Joe has gone by. Joe is definitely in the lead of this race. Matt currently sees himself on the podium. That's not a lot. There's not a lot of times I can say that. Alu in the pits. Mildy right here alongside Alu. He's also alongside Swen. And here we go, 2 wide into the first chicane. Swen's got the advantage here until the second part of this chicane, and then Mildy threatened to come back, but Swen holds him off. And it also allows for Alu to open the door here. Luke gets 5 for speeding in the pit lane. Luke's out the session. And there is no attempted move here. It's just defending here by Mildy as Alu sticks one wheel on the inside. And doesn't get the move done. So I think Alu will be fine. He should be able to get past Swen and probably Mildy as well, due to the difference in the tyres. Also, Joe picks up 3 seconds worth of track limit penalties. I think it's irrelevant considering Staber has 5 for speeding in the pit lane and is also 9 seconds further back. Boomer now comes into the pits. Joe hits the lead. Matt's also going to come into the pits as well, I'm assuming. No, Matt's not coming into the pits. I'd say, actually, he pitted lap 1, so he technically doesn't have to come back into the pits whatsoever, but Staber, directly behind him, going to give him a bit of trouble for his efforts. Matt doesn't have to pit at all. We'll see where Matt can actually end up here. Oh, and a little bit of contact there. I don't think Staber was expecting Matt to put on the brakes as heavily as he did, and Staber might have accrued a little bit of damage as a result of that, and he has, and he's gone off the track. And I think he's out. I think Staber's Staber's going to retire. Staber is going to retire. Oh my God. I think he had a bit of damage on the front wing. I don't think he was expecting Matt to brake so much. Yeah, Staber's dangerously close to getting himself disqualified. But that opened the door for Matt again. Matt defended it off against Staber, I guess, as the most unconventional way I've seen. Maybe he can do the same to Sven. It looked like one of the McLarens had a bit of a problem there. It's just Staber who is going to go in. Oh, and Matt is going to go into the pits again. He's probably struggling a little bit on those medium tyres. Staber into the pit as well. And there goes Alu on Mildy. Alu pretty nicely done. He's got DRS and a nice straight line speed. And up to third he goes. No problem, no pressure, Sven. You need 10 seconds. No pressure at all. Promise. Looks like Mini Turns has got out in front of Matt. Matt probably going to be fighting Hallen on the way out. As Jaguar also comes out of the pits as well. And he's going to be fighting Moose before too long. The yellow flag in sector 3 is a Ferrari, I believe. Having a bit of a problem. It looks like Boomer versus Big Turns. Boomer started at the back for invalidating his lap, getting disqualified from the session. Now Boomer has a real shot here at Big Turns. He's on the hards again. And there goes Boomer on the softs. That was a very easy overtake. And see if he can march his way towards Saeed now. DDK picks up 3 seconds worth of track limit penalties as well. I think that is a mute point for the moment. And actually he's got 8, so it's not a mute point. It'll only drop in down behind Andy at the moment though. As we continue to watch through, Alu versus Mildy. And Mildy is just defended off by Alu there. Sven directly in front of these two as well. Alu's going to get DRS. So is Mildy. And Mildy's all but pushing Alu through the straight at this point. And they're going to go actually not too wide as Mildy's just a little bit too far back to go after Alu here. Alu still needs to get close enough to Sven realistically to be on the top, on the second step of the podium. I think Joe has managed to clear up top step of the podium without much of an effort by the looks of things. And Andy's got 10 seconds for corner cutting. That's a bit extreme. Not sure what the game's going to end that for, but I guess we'll wait and see. It usually does that when you blatantly corner cut, so it won't drop any positions for DDK now, having 8 seconds worth of penalties. Got 10, the gap back to Mini Turns in 10th. Currently watching Alu. We got yellow flags in sector 2, and I think that's Hallinan having a problem. That is Hallinan having a problem. As Jaguar also goes past Matt there in the beginning of the 3rd sector. And he's also going to go the long way round here against Mini Turns. And Jaguar, both of these tier 2, Jaguar the long way round. That's pretty nice on him. Gets the move done and maybe an extra position or 2 as well. Andy into the pits. He's got 10 seconds worth of corner cutting penalties. He's also going on to a different set of tyres, so his race is over essentially. It's 10.9. Jaguar has about 5 laps to gain about 3 seconds here on DDK just to gain an extra place. Also have a bit of a view on what's going on at the front of the grid, apart from Joe's 14-second advantage. His penalty is incredibly mute at this point. Let's see if Alu can make something stick. The yellow flag in sector 1 and sector 3. And I think that is Charizard. That's Charizard. Yep. There you go. And Charizard having a bit of a problem there. He's about to be lap 2. Here comes Alu on Sven. You can see Sven trying to break the toe a little bit here. The slipstream is still too much and Alu is going to get by. And Alu should be able to clear him now. It should be relatively easy for Alu to try and just pull away a gap unless he's going to do that. And if he's going to do that, it's not going to be good news. He goes deep out of the first chicane. Saeed also picked up 3, which allowed to Boomer to get an extra position. There'll be 2 top 5s for Boomer so far in sprint, which is not a bad first week. Mildy also has a penalty as well. believe his was 5 seconds, so maybe even with penalties before anything gets removed, an extra position for Boomer there as well. As Charizard starts to get lapped by the entire grid. Those blue flags are definitely not blue and hue, but purple, but never mind. Even though I might just be suffering a little bit. They looked purple. And, yeah. So Swen has the DRS here on Alu. Let's see if 6/10 is enough of a gap. DRS is extremely powerful in this game. Let's see if it's enough. Charizard's going into the pit. He's going to retire because he's been lapped. I don't know if Alu's going to be overtaken here. Swen's going to go the long way, but he's not going to be able to even get alongside. Alu does well to hold him off. Doesn't even allow him on the inside, on the outside, going into turn 1. But here comes Swen to fight on the outside of the second chicane instead. They're going to go side by side. Here comes Alu on the inside of the soft tyres. And also Mildy along the outside. And Mildy gets it on Swen as well. That is extremely good driving. Sees the gap, takes it. And makes sure he takes it as well. Mildy almost had his through goes Hamilton moment. Or a Sebastian Vettel moment. Whatever you want to know it as. But Alu does just about enough to hold him off. Now has 7/10 in his favour. Boomer now within a second of Saeed as well. Moose picks up 3 more. And yeah, Boomer should have DRS on Saeed, which should be an easy overtake coming up. Well, here comes Mildy on Alu. And this should be extremely easy. He was closer than Swen was on the prior lap. It still looks like... Oh, we're going 3 wide! We're going 3 wide, and I still think Alu has somehow come out the better of this. Even though he got popped out in the middle by the 2 on either side, we remain as we were. Alu has somehow come out a lot better than the 2 other cars. Mildy had a little bit of an error on traction, I think. That cost a little bit of time there. He looked like a slider. He was on ice. Sliding through the first corner. Swen also loses out there and probably got a warning because Mildy took him a little bit wide. Also, Boomer got past Saeed and is now hunting down this group. Alu picks up 3 seconds of track limit penalties. And that is going to allow for Swen or for Boomer, whichever way this ends up, to have a real good go at this. For a podium as well. Well, a podium until stewards get involved. I don't know if Adam's got a penalty to remove. I don't know what's going on. But we're now on lap 18 of 18. Boomer is not within DRS of Swen. Swen is not within the DRS of Adam Mildy. And and Mildy versus Alu is actually going to go straight down to the corner again, but this time, Mildy is in fact going to get in front. Couldn't do that last time, caused a bit of a meltdown last time, and gets it done properly this time. Boomer has run out of time to catch up to Swen, so Swen should realistically, before stewards, get second on that podium. Joe 18 second in the distance. This is ridiculous. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that utter domination. It doesn't get any easier than that. When I said at the beginning of the race he was going to Max Verstappen us, I was joking, but he has truly Max Verstappen us here in Mexico. And Joe makes it 2 from 2 to start the season, and there was really no denying in that. Excellent driving from Joe. He may have got the 3 seconds, but it was in vain in the end. Mildy not going to beat Alu. And it looked like Swen is going to take second on the grid. He's going to take second on the podium even. And Boomer makes it 2 from 2 for thirds on this week's of racing. Alu 4th, Saeed 5th, Milsey 6th, Big Turn 7th. Jaguar's going to get 7th, 8th in the end. DDK's going to get 9th. Matt is somehow going to round out the point. Well, the top 10 even. The Mini turns in 11th. Should be Hallinan, I believe, in 12th. OG Moose King is going to be in 13th. Andy and Tap are going to round us off. They didn't get lapped, which is always a positive. Andy gets penalty there. Not entirely sure what the penalties was in the terms of the gap between the two. I think it was only 5 in the end. As Tap rounds off in 14th. And there you go. There you go indeed. And that is the first week of sprint. And Joe, 2 from 2. The first one did realistically had to do some work to try and avoid that. It's a large battle with Alu and one with Mildy too. But this one was complete domination. There was no stopping him here. Boomer also 2 from 2 in terms of a podium. So that brings us to a close of the first week of the season. We had tier 2 and tier 4 on Thursday in their first 50% race. We had the infamous race in tier 1 and tier 3 on the Sunday in their first race of the season at Spa, and now Sprint's first week of the season all wrapped up, which brings us to everything else that's happening on the week. You've got Spec tomorrow. I'm not entirely sure that will be broadcasted though. Maybe a post-coms later in the week. And then you've got the return to F1, this time on France on Thursday night. I'll be driving on then. You'll see me next on Sunday in the booth. But until then, goodbye.